In today's thrift store challenge, we are headed off to Anthropologie to get some much needed inspiration, and then we are headed off to the thrift store to see what we can come up with for a whole lot less. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with some wall decor options, Anthropologie is one of those stores or websites that no matter what your interior design style is, you will definitely find something that you love, but it does come at a pretty hefty price tag. One important note I wanted to make sure that I pointed out in this video is that no matter what the artwork is, it almost always is framed out in some way. So find some artwork that you really like and just consider adding some sort of a floating frame around it or any just kind of frame in general. I had scrap wood trim in my stash, and I'm just going to take some measurements, take it out to my miter saw and cut it down. If you don't have a miter saw, you can always just use a miter box. You can do straight cuts like I'm showing here, or also do 45-degree angle cuts, which does make it look a little bit more high end, but for the sake of time, I thought this was just the easiest route to go down. There was a little imperfection there at the bottom of this artwork, so I just took some watered down black acrylic paint and just kind of buffed it out. To attach the frame to the wall art, I do like to first use some wood glue just to kind of get it to start holding in place, and then I secure it down with my nail gun. Then you'll want to fill those holes with wood filler and then sand those down, and then pick whatever stain you like. I went in with this one called Coffee. It is a gel stain by Minwax. And that really wrapped it up for this project. I think it's just a really easy way to make something look a little bit more elevated, but on a budget. Moving along now into decorative accessories. I think the important thing to consider, especially with Anthropologie or even like World Market, is that the pieces that you are choosing at the thrift store to replicate it. So for example, these would be great for like a crate and barrel dupe, but definitely too plain to be for Anthropologie. But these kind of bubble vases that they are clear, but you could always tint them if you'd like. They were just 30 cents a piece. I filled them with these dried hydrangeas for 10 bucks. And I think that under $11, this looks so chic, but on a budget. When it comes to your decorative bowls, decorative trays, I would say there are some neutral options, but Anthropologie is really known for their prints and patterns and color. And trays are one of those things that you do come across quite often at thrift stores, and they could be used as wall art. They could also be used as little saucers for a plant, or you can even elevate it to make it like a side table or plant stand. There are so many kind of vintage inspired options when it comes to kind of trinket trays, which are your smaller trays for jewelry, salt and pepper, like I'm showing you here. This guy was just $1.99 at the Goodwill, and I think looks super similar to the one from Anthropologie. If you would really love your space to feel Anthropologie inspired, one recommendation I strongly suggest is infusing some sort of animal decor into your space. That could be in the form of bookends, a planter, a soap dish, a trinket dish, whatever it may be. Found this sweet little bunny container at the Goodwill bins for just 49 cents a pound, and I think it looks very Anthropologie inspired and could be used in so many different ways. Now let's talk about where things can get really expensive, which of course is our furniture options. Through Anthropologie, thousands of dollars on really beautiful furniture, but you can also find really similar pieces at your thrift store. Now the really good furniture pretty much goes almost immediately whenever it hits the floor, but the stuff that requires a little bit of elbow grease or maybe a tweak or two will sit for a little bit. And that then provides an opportunity for an improvement in your space or flip it for a quick buck or two. So I found these bar stools that were originally $5, but then I got 20% off, so they were just $4 a piece. Taking some scrap white linen blend fabric, I'm just going to simply reupholster these. If you are kind of new to reupholstering and you're reupholstering something that is round like these, my best suggestion is after you've kind of cut it down, give yourself a little bit of slack on the perimeter of whatever you're trying to reupholster. But then you kind of want to like pleat the fabric on the underside, so then that way what you see is very smooth around. Also, whenever you're reupholstering anything, I like to just remove it, so then that way I can keep kind of flipping it back and forth to make sure that it's looking the way that I want it to. Once you are happy with the way that it looks, then you just want to remove your excess fabric and then attach the top now to the base of the bar stool. We can stop here and we don't need to add anything necessarily, but because this is an Anthropologie video, of course we need to add a little bit of extra detail. So I had some of this cream fringe left over, so we are just going to add this around the sides of the tops of these bar stools just to, again, give it some detail, but then also I wanted to give it the availability to remove it if you don't like it. So I first went in with this double-sided tape from the Dollar Tree, and then I added the hot glue only to the outside of the tape, attaching the fringe. One question I get from you guys often is, what do I do with all of these things that I share with you guys? And usually I either keep it for myself, give it to neighbors or family, but this would be an example of something I would sell. So it cost me under $10 for under 30 minutes and was able to make a $50 profit. So I encourage you guys to get out to your thrift stores, of course, to look for yourself, but if you see an opportunity to make a little bit of extra money, I definitely recommend doing so. Lighting at Anthropologie is no different. It is all in the details. So when it comes to your kind of really basic lights, I found this IKEA light at the Goodwill for $4.99. So you could kind of feed something through here. You guys have seen me do that before with the Greek bust. You just need a special type of drill bit generally, if it's resin, but you could really transform this very basic light into something that looks way more Anthropologie inspired by doing this really simple hack. Also, globe lighting. I find these globe lights all the time at the thrift store, and if you just find a really cool base that it can kind of sit inside of, simply add a puck light on the inside, and I think you have a really kind of elevated look, but on a budget. I think for me, baskets are one of those things. It would be really, really hard for me to have to spend, you know, over $20 on a basket when I know the Goodwill bins is just flooded with so many different types of baskets. And one type of basket you can almost always find are picnic baskets. Now, I loved this basket here and I almost got it, but I couldn't get past that. It just had like a weird smell to it, although it was brand new with tags. So I kept my eyes out at the thrift store because I thought this would be such a cute gift idea for Mother's Day to give like a picnic basket and fill it with all of my mom's favorite things. The only problem with this one was there thankfully wasn't a weird smell, but it was snapped. One of the handles was snapped. So I just grabbed some wood glue and I just kind of doused it on there to reconnect the two pieces together and then just kind of reinforce it with a clamp until it was completely secured down. Once it was nice and secure, I just filled it with a combination of things that I either thrifted or I picked up at Home Goods, and I think this just makes a really kind of sweet and thoughtful gift for Mother's Day. Another gift idea I thought would be very sweet is to gift for Mother's Day, find a really great pot, maybe fill it with a plant, and then include one of these self-watering bulbs here. These were just 50 cents a piece at my local thrift shop, the Hartville Thrift Shop. They had so many different sizes and patterns and colors. A quick and easy gift that was definitely more cost-effective by shopping secondhand. When it comes to wreaths, my best advice is to kind of like the artwork, find a wreath that you really like and then go in with that intention when you go to the Goodwill bins, or if you're at any thrift store really, just to kind of keep it in the back of your mind what you're really looking for. So I found this garland, and any garland that you find can be split apart, turned into a faux plant, can also be turned into a wreath. I wanted to add some ambient lighting on the inside of my umbrella when it's up. So I wrapped this garland around a large Dollar Tree wreath form, and then I also added some fairy lights, and I thought that this was just a nice kind of whimsical ambient touch to my outdoor space, but was so budget friendly. And now kind of going the other way, so you found maybe a few wreaths that you really like. Maybe it's these really bright and beautiful colorful ones, and that's really your aesthetic. So I was at a rummage sale and I found this Kirkland's wreath that was pretty large. Now it was in definitely some rough shape, and it would definitely need some shaping and maybe some swapping out of a few florals, but it was also only $1. So I know I'm not just saying buy things because it's cheap, but if you think you could make an inexpensive modification to an existing wreath and it's not gonna break the bank doing so, but you will get a really high-end look in the end, which is what I plan for doing this kind of late summer, early fall, I think it's definitely more cost-effective to go the secondhand route. Next up, let's talk about Textiles. Again, heavy in pattern and color, really luxe materials combined together for a really just kind of collected feel. A lot of things with embroidery, so that is the things you will want to keep your eyes out for at your local thrift shops. Of course, you'll want to check your pillows, but you can also kind of think in the way of textiles in your furniture options. Also check your fabric section. Sometimes people start at things that are so beautiful that could be transformed into pillows. And also don't be afraid to just add one simple stitch. The only thing wrong with this pillow from what I could tell was that this handle was broken and would take a mere 2 minutes to fix. I thought that this pillow here looked very Anthropologie inspired. It was brand new with tags. Also, this one here had this kind of tassel detail. Ended up just putting my own insert inside after washing it, placed it in my daughter's room, but was only $3. Last but not least, let's talk candles. Anthropologie has so many beautiful, amazing smelling candles, but they're also really expensive. I've actually found brand new Anthropologie candles at the Goodwill. Another thing I've noticed at the Goodwill too, they have been getting merchandise from Marshalls and Home Goods, and a lot of that can kind of be a really close dupe to what you would find at Anthropologie, but for an even bigger discount than if you were to go to Home Goods and purchase it. And that really wraps it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments which find or hack was your favorite, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye for now.